I often thought that really the person who should be delivering that kind of message, of separation and the sort of endless dissatisfaction of it is the comedians. Just forget the spiritual teachers for this part. We can just sit down and bring a comedian in. Because you can look at it either way, right? It can be either an eternal disaster that you're caught in, or you see that dissatisfaction is also there's something absurd about it. Absurdity can be horrifying, and absurdity can be hilarious too. Our failure to laugh at ourselves is our failure to embrace our own absurdity. But in the end, the funniest thing in the world is me and you. Right? That's often why we go to comedians, because they tell us things about ourselves, but they tell it in a funny way, right? They'll always be talking about some sort of neurosis, some sort of, they'll often be pointing at their own stupidity. Of course, when they're pointed at everybody else's stupidity, it's not nearly as funny. When they point at their own, they're really funny, right? Because they awaken within us that it's not just a disaster. There's also sort of an absurd quality to it. There's Dante wrote the Divine Comedy. If you read the Divine Comedy, most of it's a horror story. Descending into purgatory, hell, it's just like, good Lord. Why is that a comedy? But you can also see it as absurd. We're all absurd in our own way. I find it's the most fun to make fun of myself. And I'd have no problem finding absurdities to make fun of myself with. It's not very fun to make fun of other people. That's not particularly nice. But within it yourself, it can strike you, the absurdity, that it's actually, if you're ready to join the human family. If you're not ready to join the human family, if you still got to be a little bit above them or a little bit below them, you don't get the absurdity. There's no humor in it, But if you're willing to join, it's like, wow, yeah, the Divine Comedy, It was his way of saying the same thing the Buddha said, But it was just said sort of in an absurd way, Divine Comedy. Buddha said it really directly. Life is suffering. Like, wow. You could just as easily say, it's ridiculous. We're always tripping over ourselves. But somehow when we can finally sit down with this, and often, like I said, even when people have glimpses of awakening, very rarely is that first glimpse the end of it. The little birthday candle of self reignites and it starts chasing the experience or chasing this or chasing that, or it starts to think, well, I've glimpsed perfection, but I'm still so imperfect. I'm still just bumbling around in life. And wait, I'm supposed to be perfect or something. You might try to then to be perfect because you've glimpsed perfection. But perfection is when we've just dropped all the nonsense, all the attempt to be something other than we are. And also, we've dropped the attempt to justify being the way we are. When it's all dropped, all of a sudden, everything seems perfect in all its catastrophe. Somehow, it's okay. Even though it's a disaster, it's okay.